Hey, what's up, Steelers Nation? I'm Tyler Feldman. I missed my friend's birthday. For that, I have had it. I am done. I am done with this Steelers team as is. Something's got to change. I am so irate.
And I'm Ben Bobick. Everything he said.
And I'm Wayne Gandy. At least the grounds crew did a good job on the field today.
Wave those terrible towels. It's the Steelers Squad. Everything Pittsburgh Steelers every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the Steel City. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. From the steel curtain to the next generation, the Steelers Squad Show starts now.
Yes, it does. This is the Steelers Squad Show, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. And something is airing on my end right now. It's the actual show I had up to make sure we were airing. That's just the way that this show is started, is the way the Steelers started the second half. That's apropos with the way that things are happening technologically on our end. Holy moly. I'm up here right now. I'm like way up here, and I'm trying to get down to here with the way that Steelers game ended. A terrible rush defense coming into Acrisure Stadium, and what? They get 58 rushing yards. Arthur Smith dialing up. Ben, you said it before the show. He had maybe 3 plays that he went to. The least dynamic offense maybe the NFL has seen this entire season. Again, this is the Locked On Steelers Squad Show immediately after the Steelers' 26-7 loss to the Buffalo Bills. The Locked On Podcast Network is now the #1 sports podcast network, and tonight's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. I'm Tyler Feldman, Pittsburgh native, Upper St. Clair, proud Upper St. Clair alumnus, excuse me.
It's one of those.
You're fired up. Fired up.
Hey, it is what it is. I said it. I'm trying to retract. It's a live show. He's Ben Bobick, proud Steel Valley alumnus, proud Penn Stater just like me, and Wayne Gandy, former Pittsburgh Steeler, 15-year NFL veteran on the offensive line of a handful of teams. Guys, Wayne, I'll get your immediate thoughts. 26-7, the Steelers, just an utter joke.
Yeah, it was absolutely horrible to watch. It was a game where really the post game and tomorrow's meetings are quick. We all lost. There is no fingerprint. I think each individual, I'm talking about the coordinators, Dr. James Bradley, just throw everybody in there. Tomlin, each player, everybody failed in this game. It was there was nothing to point to as a highlight of any real success, other than one little catch with Washington where he ran over a couple people. But other than that, everybody to me failed in this game on each level. They didn't seem interested. Looked like maybe people kept eating Thanksgiving dinner. People, a lot of people sluggish, not getting off blocks. The only thing, as I said in the open, was the field and that the Ravens lost on Thursday. Other than that, I mean, there is nothing to even applaud. We could just spend the next 52 minutes, 55 minutes bashing. And I'm being on the bashing, guy. I'm a very positive guy, but let's get all in on the bashing tonight. Call a name and let me bash him. Now, how about that?
And I think we'd all prefer, as big of a human being as Wayne Gandy is, to have him be in a bashing mood. You better watch out. We've got 50 minutes of possible bashing from Wayne Gandy, and for the Steelers, they deserve it. Ben, they deserve it. Yeah, Wayne mentioned the Ravens looking terrible on Thursday night. Bengals get Joe Burrow back, and they take down the Ravens in a pretty dynamic fashion. But, Ben, this game here late this afternoon against the Bills, a Bills team that is what are they? And they have a terrible rush defense, and they come into Pittsburgh, and the Steelers have the lead at halftime. The very first play in that second half. You want to talk about bashing. Joey Bosa bashes Aaron Rodgers, bloody nose. It looked like he was playing at PPG Paints Arena across town with that kind of look. And now the Steelers, they still have to play the Ravens twice, but I have zero confidence in things going the right way for this Steelers team.
Yeah, and you know what's the cherry on top of a lot of things here too? I think with this game was playing right into the Steelers' hands, man. Think about that first half. The Bills, they were getting a couple gash runs, but they were doing a good job of bottling up Josh Allen, making him get the ball out quick, not letting him extend plays. They got a couple turnovers. They got the interception. They got the fumble that turned into a touchdown. The offense just needed to be average, and I think they might be able to squeak this game out. And it was just absolutely inept. I mean, they couldn't even do a single thing on offense, man. And and like Wayne said, you pick a name, let's point to them. The receivers weren't getting open. They weren't running the ball effectively. Aaron Rodgers sort of, he sort of kind of found his way into that strip sack there, but that goes into playing because the receivers weren't open. There was no one. Tony Romo made mention that when they were showing the replay. It's like, where's he supposed to go with the ball? Everybody's covered. Every single person was covered downfield. It's just it was a playing into a Steelers type of game where, man, you know what? They might be able to grind this one out the way this is going because they were doing a decent job. And of course, everybody's going to point to the defense here, and everyone's going to say, obviously the defense, and they're not off the hook, obviously. They're not off the hook because they did give up the most rushing yards in Acrisure Stadium history, which is an atrocious thing to say if you really think about it against the team that was playing with two backup tackles too is crazy to think about. But I think the one thing you look at with them, and I'm not letting the defense off the hook, but I mean, just look at the time of possession. The Bills held the ball for 42 minutes. The Steelers had it for 18. That's so bad. That's more than double. They more than doubled up the time of possession, man. I mean, that is just so bad. And I'm talking about the offense just needing to be average. They weren't even below average. Like they just, if they were average, they might be able to squeak out this football game, but they weren't even below average. And we got the result we got today. It's as bad as it gets, man. I don't know. It's a dark hole they're in right now.
Wayne, all season you said we know what this Steelers team is. We know what they're capable of. And that was maybe 9, 10, 11 wins, a playoff team. But this performance against the Bills on your home field, Ben said it, 58 rushing yards. You sent us the article earlier this week saying that Deion Dawkins and Spencer Brown both out on that offensive line for the Bills. So they were going into the second string. They were going off the bench to protect Josh Allen. Just a mess. And man, you look at Ben Johnson in that Chicago Bears locker room, Wayne. You see how a new head coach can galvanize, can bring new energy, can bring a different look, can bring a team together. The Bears had been bad for so long, or just average, or just middle of the run there. Is it like all the comments? I get it. It's the fire Tomlin stuff. I understand. But are we finally at a breaking point where it's like, what is the identity of this Steelers team? It's not the Steelers way. The Rooney family can't be watching this saying they're happy. I mean, this is an embarrassment. I think if Mr. Rodgers was alive right now, the nicest guy in the world, he would have found a way to bash this Steelers team as is. And you don't want that. That's where I feel like the Steelers team is right now. It really is disappointing.
Yeah, they don't seem to have any kind of fire from any, especially offensively. Other than they seem to play more into other teams, getting in little fights and, knocking the ball. But as an offense, I don't know any guy on that side of the ball. And I know some guys are quiet leaders. But other than Aaron Rodgers at different times, who seems like he's trying to bite his tongue on a lot more things than he does, where is that fire? And the night I saw that defensively, usually maybe Jalen Ramsey does something. Cam Hayward kind of I don't know what they said to him to get him riled up, got out of his game.
They probably talked trash on his brother. I mean, I feel like it's that simple with them.
But when I watch, you don't get it from, Mike Tomlin has always been that kind of cool, middle-tempered kind of guy. The coordinators, there is just no fire in that show tonight. You didn't see, at least from my television advantage. I didn't see where a guy grabbed everybody up and energized them. It took them until that last little kind of 2-minute drive to even try anything differently offensively. And then with the defense, where Terrell Austin comes into play, how many times are the running backs going to get to bounce to the outside? I don't know that. I mean, that is really how they started killing you. They did that in the first half, and then in the second half, they ran right at you. So there was no life in this team. And I know we're looking for something positive, but I saw no life, no energy. They were willing to accept whatever happened to them out on the field, and that is just not the Steeler way.
I've had managers. I'm sure everyone has had a manager or a boss or a coach, whomever, who has been the micromanager. And that is challenging in and of itself. I've also had bosses, managers who were laid back and kind of let you do your own thing. And that's good to a point, but also gives you so much freedom that you can maybe find yourself slipping up and crossing your T's and dotting your I's. I'm okay. Wayne, you said it. Mike Tomlin, he's calm, cool. He's always been that way. But at a certain point, you got to start grabbing guys and getting a little emotion out of them. This is football. Everyone else is getting that way. And when you're in a game at home at this point of the season, I saw none of that. I think this is the game for me where you need to start making significant changes to this organization, because what it is right now, it is unacceptable for the Steelers organization to be operating this way so consistently. Yes, they're still in the playoff hunt. Yes, they could still win the division, and we're talking about this. But, Ben, there's no fire, to Wayne's point, and enough's enough for me.
Yeah, it's just at a point where you just keep, it's like, what's the saying about, how many things do you do, keep doing over and over before you're insane? I mean, that's just kind of what it is with this team. It's just like over and over. It's what got me, and I just started laughing at the television today was, 3rd and 9, and they're running the ball. It's like, they're down, 2 scores at this point, and they're running the ball. It's like, oh yeah, you're really going to catch them off guard. Yeah, like you just played into their hands. And then on the 4th and 2, late in the game, they were down 16. Granted, the game was pretty much over at that point, but it was one of their better drives of the game. And it's 4th and 2. They bring in Spencer Anderson. Like, everybody knows you're running the ball. Like, you're running the ball. And then you run right into a brick wall. It's like you're not fooling anybody, man. That's the thing, and I think that's what gets me most about this. The coaching staff, from your to your point, Tyler, is they love to pretend like they're outwitting everybody, and they love to pretend like they know what's best. And granted, a lot of the times they may do. They're the reason they're in the position. But in this case, you can't play coy like that. You can't play the calm, cool, and collected card now, man. Like you're bad. And like what was out there today was one of the worst performances I think we've seen in the Tomlin era, just point blank period. When you take a lot of things into consideration, when you take into consideration we're at home in a primetime game with the number 1 CBS broadcast booth we're in first place in the division. You're playing a battered Bills team that hasn't been playing well, down a few guys on the offensive line. Their rush defense is terrible, and everything that they were bad at, they did well today. They ran the ball well today on us, and we gave up more rushing yards than the Steelers ever have in Acrisure Stadium history. You only got 50, 60 some rushing yards, and you just didn't even compete at all. And so I think it's at a point here where we're probably too late in the season for them to be like, oh well, let's get rid of some people, whatnot. You got to ride it out, but it's. To your point, something's got to give here at some point, whether that's after the season. But again, like you mentioned as well, they're right in the thick of the Bengals did them a favor, man. They had a game in hand today. The Bengals did them a favor on Thursday night. You're able to lose this game and still be right where you need to be in terms of winning the division.
Well, if we have to ride this out for the last 5 games of the season, put me in a coffin and put some soundproof headphones on my ears and blindfold my eyes and lock the coffin, because I don't want to witness any of this. Bills, 249 rushing yards. I mean, are you kidding me? The Steelers total had 166 yards in the football game. It is just laughable at this point. Wayne, any initial thoughts that we haven't touched on that you want to hit on before we end this first quarter here on the Locked On Steelers Squad show?
No, I believe I'm like you and Ben. When you look at the coaching staff, you do start feeling like the Steelers haven't been, had a losing season kind of temperament has permeated through the team. It looked like that today where nobody was trying to make a mistake, but you're not actually trying to win the game. Seemed like he was just, holding, but Buffalo was trying to win. And I think the thing that jumped the most to me is that the energy level never really switched. All I saw was a Steeler team that seemed to be, waving their rattle, upset, on different plays. They're not getting this call, but I didn't see any in it. And I'm talking about from the Hall of Famers down to the backups. There was just no energy in the stadium today.
Did they play the song did they even play it? Did they play it?
They did. They booed it. They booed it. They played it after they turned it over on 4th and 2. They played it and they booed the entire time.
I had the whole
And what was that called on 4th and 2? What was that? Oh man.
Man, I might look like 11 at some point in this show from Stranger Things, just like my nose bleeding as I talk more and more about this game from the anger that I have within me right now. Hey, the first quarter, it's up on this 4-quarter Locked On Steelers squad show. Live reaction from the Steelers' 26-7 loss. When we come back, we will discuss the idea, did Aaron Rodgers return too soon? Should he have taken another week off? Because numbers say one thing, the eye test says one thing. We saw Mason Rudolph, that said another thing. We will dive into that, Wayne's World, and we will also look ahead to next week against the Ravens. That's all coming up here on the Locked On Steelers Squad Show. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement during the season, whether you're following the NFL, NBA, or both. There's no better time to jump in on the action. If you haven't tried it yet, Prize Picks is the simplest way to play. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats, and if your team gets them right, you win. It takes less than 60 seconds to make your lineup, and you can play anywhere Prize Picks operates, including California, Texas, and Georgia. I've been using Prize Picks during both football Sundays and NBA tip-offs, and let me tell you, it keeps every game exciting. I'm picking my favorite players to see my predictions play out, and the new Stacks feature is a game changer. And that's not all. If one of your players leaves early with an injury, the injury reboot saves my lineup from a loss. So download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. All right, second quarter of this Locked On Steelers squad show. Wayne Gandy, Ben Bobick, I'm Tyler Feldman. The Steelers suffering a 26-7 loss at home to the Buffalo Bills. Bills improved to 8-4. They're now 3-3 on the road. The Steelers dropped to 6-6, now 4-3 at Acrisure Stadium. A big game next Sunday for that top spot in the division in Baltimore against the Ravens. We'll get to that matchup later on in the show. But first, we've got to talk about Aaron Rodgers with that robotic-looking black brace on his left arm for that left wrist. He finishes the day 10 of 21, just 117 passing yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, does get sacked once. Mason Rudolph came in briefly in the second half when Aaron Rodgers took that big hit and had the bloody nose. Rudolph, he didn't look like he was preparing to play at all. So, again, he wasn't out there long, but got picked off once, 0 for 3 on his pass completion attempts, no passing yards. Wayne, I'll start with you. Did Aaron Rodgers come back too quickly?
Aaron Rodgers, 42. There's no quickly. You get him out on the field as fast as possible. I didn't look, to me, at least outwardly, he didn't look physically down. He looked like he could move around. I didn't see him fumble the snaps. He was in shotgun most of the game. The bad snap on the ground, that wasn't his fault. Walt Frazier never got the ball up. It just went, it kind of basically bowling ball just rolled back. So I didn't see anything about his function as a quarterback today as some kind of idea that he got back on the field too fast. To me, I remember a couple of shows ago, I asked Chris about the relationship between him, Arthur Smith, and the play calling. Sometimes what I get is that in this man built the Hall of Fame career on being a gunslinger, as we, going out, being creative, throwing the ball. He's worked with a receiving core here and there in his career that had about this much, and he's done, talent and done some things with it. He's not one of those guys that always had the great receivers around him. So sometimes to me, it seems like his frustration, at least when I look at his face, is how vanilla this offense functions. Like we don't ever challenge anybody in anything. It's hard for me to even criticize the other receivers because I don't know that they seem like maybe they're down. Like they know they're not going to really be part of the offense. If anything, when I watch him in that situation where we were behind and he was coming back, that was the first time he looked like maybe he was 36. But other than that, he looks like they have him in this kind of wheelchair role where, we're going to play defense and we're just going to let you try to make the best decision. But, I would rather them try to win than try not to lose. And that's what it seems like a lot of times they're doing with Aaron Rodgers.
George Pickens, he has to be happy with how things have shaken out for him in Dallas and deciding to go that route because, Ben, I know we talked about it a lot earlier in the season about not having that second wide receiver option. I feel like now as we've reached the second half of the season, this offense just doesn't have the personnel on the outside to be dynamic enough to do anything that creative. An older quarterback, not having that second really talented receiver option, 3 great tight ends, but where were they today? Let's go back. We can get to that in a second, but do you think Aaron Rodgers should have rested this week and maybe let Mason go, or do you think this was the right play for Aaron and the team? It didn't seem like it, but was it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not so sure it makes too much of a difference a week or two. I mean, I know that he's got, I think they said he has 3 fractures in his left wrist. That's not going to get better in an extra week or so. He just has to suit up and roll with it because, I know it might be tough handling the ball a little bit, but, it's not on his throwing hands. So they had no issue throwing the football today. It's just so, the offense is just like Wayne said, it's so vanilla and predictable. If they're either running the ball or they're just throwing a wide receiver, or not a wide receiver, like a running back screen, or just like a little swing pass and getting it out there. Like, how many times was the ball batted at the line today? Because the Bills knew that that Aaron Rodgers was just going to try to flip it to Jaylen Warren or Kenneth Gainwell. The one big gainer they got on it was a bad pass. Kenneth Gainwell, to catch it one-handed below his knees, made a fantastic catch. That was the one time they actually got it out. I mean, teams know that they're trying to dump it down like that. They just need, like, it's so boring to watch. You know what you're going to get, and there's just no explosiveness from it. And there's no threat of explosiveness from it. I mean, it's so, I feel like these teams watch it on tape and almost laugh, like, okay, well, it's so easy to defend, it feels like. And obviously teams are making it look easy to defend. Stop the run, and then the guys aren't getting open. And that's enough to your point about the second wide receiver. I mean, it might make a difference. It may, who knows? I just think in this particular offense with Arthur Smith, man, it's just so boring. And it worked one time, and it worked in 2019 when the Titans got lightning in a bottle and went all the way to the AFC Championship game because they had Derrick Henry, who's the Hall of Fame running back and had a run of his career. Like, that was it, man. Like, it's not a good offense. It's never set up to be. And then I think, you know what, one of the better drives today actually was when they drove down 16. I think it was because Aaron Rodgers was calling plays. They were just running up to the line, and he was calling it on the run there, where they were doing the hurry up because they were down 16. And next thing you know, they're finding Darnell Washington over the middle, ripping him up the seam, and then they find DK Metcalf on a slant, and he's wide open. It's like, where was this an hour ago? Why does it always have to be so, like, it just, stuff like that. When I preach keeping it simple, I mean, that's what I mean. Like, let's look what the defense is giving you and just hit the open guy, even if it's for 6-7 yards. That's where you could operate. That's where you get 2nd and 4. Okay, now we could run the ball, maybe get a ripper. That's 3rd and short, and it's fine. It's like I just think it's so predictable, and it's just not a good NFL offense, and it's so bland.
We've talked a lot about the offense and the blandness of the offense. Maybe throw a little salt, a little pepper, a little flavor. Try something different. Or is the coaching staff saying, hey, this is the personnel we've got. This is all we can do with what we've got. That better not be the mindset. Wayne, defensively, second half, boy, that first play really had me feeling some kind of way. And then the defense didn't do anything either.
Yeah, they really the whole game. I know the score, we were up at half, but they were still running the ball well that Buffalo was in that first half against us. We did get the interception and the fumble, but it already shook from the first play. It seemed like it was going to be a long day, especially when, what was the running back? Davis, I think, got in there. The back.
Ray Davis, yeah,
Ray
16 yards.
And got about 50 yards rushing.
Yeah, he was sweet baby Ray out there with how sweet the Steelers defense was making him look. Goodness.
And it is just once Patrick Queen, they were running, so you can't even use that. And that's why I said in the open, there was no excuse. It was a terrible performance because you want to say, oh, okay, Patrick Queen got hurt, and that's why. But no, they were running the ball when everybody was healthy. They were breaking tackles. They understand, like anyone, if you're coaching little league, high school, or college, and the opposing team, their 2 tackles are out, they're going to run the football. They're going to live and die because most linemen can run block. They just can't all pass block. So you go out and you run the football, and that's what they were going to do today, and throw little dump passes. So
and the defense looked ready for that, Wayne. The defense looked really prepared to handle that run blocking.
Yeah, but those big bodies, they got on them. Next thing you know, James Cook, and you come in as one of the top rushers. The thing that you really need to take away, you couldn't take away. Because on the flip side, really, the Superman didn't beat you like that. It took him a while to get going, and that wasn't their idea. And to end this game, and we have 0 sacks against a team that's been giving up 3 or 4 sacks here the last 3 or 4 games. They were trying to protect Josh Allen, but defensively, the O-line, the linebackers, the safeties, the corners, everybody to put their equipment on today, the guys that was cleaning their cleats on the sideline, everybody failed, Tyler.
It reminded me, seeing the Steelers team today, it reminded me back when you'd play Little League Baseball and you knew the game was over and you weren't going to get another at-bat and it was the end of the game, but the game wasn't over. You'd pack your things up before the game actually ended. You'd try to hurry the process up because coach was like, get over here, we're talking, and get your stuff. I'd be ready to go. I'm not afraid to admit that. At the professional level, though, the Steelers did that way too early here in this football game today. Ben, did anything stand out to you on a positive note before we get to halftime here on the Squad Show? Was anything positive? You'd have to really go digging for holes to find something. Did you?
Yeah, Joey Porter Jr. made a couple nice open field tackles today. That would have gashed, that would have made the Bills' record at Acrisure Stadium even more had he not tackled James Cook in the open field. One of them might have been either both of them might have been a touchdown saving tackle, and at that point the first one was actually in still critical moments of the game where it was still a ball game, and I'm thinking, hey, you know what, those are good tackles there, especially out there on an island and making plays and that's about it. Yeah, and you know why he had to take, and what's sad is why he had to make those open field tackles, because the Bills were literally, and this was, I was just looking on, cruising on social media and on TJ Watt in the post game, he literally confirmed it, that the Bills literally were running the same running play over and over again, and the Steelers couldn't stop it. They changed it, they said they adjusted to it, and they still couldn't stop it. How embarrassing is that when the team that you're playing at a professional level is running the same exact play, and they're running the same play, and yet they're still gashing you for yards? That is, I mean, that stuff you get, that's high school level. Coach Tomlin likes to talk about playing at a JV level. That's ninth grade. Yeah, that's not even JV. That's ninth grade, man. I mean, come on. I mean, but yeah, Joey Porter Jr. made a couple nice open field tackles. Hope he keeps that up.
I wish you hadn't said you were perusing social media, Ben. I just did, and I'm shaking my head. I'm almost speechless.
Yeah, I chose violence. The
Steelers way is no longer the way. We've got Penguins Jesus hopping in here. The Pittsburgh Penguins account saying that the Steelers way is no longer the way. Fire Tomlin. It should have been done years ago. We will try to come to our senses after the break. We will dive into Wayne's world and see what the 15-year NFL veteran has to break down to try and make sense of the current state of these Pittsburgh Steelers. That is next right here on the Locked On Steelers Squad Show. The World Cup is coming back to North America for the first time since 1994. And with 48 teams for the first time ever, it is going to be massive. But let's be honest, getting tickets is usually the hardest part, right? That's why the Game Time app is clutch, finally giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging seats. With Game Time, you can track price drops in real time, get alerts when seats open, and buy tickets the moment they hit the app. It puts the power back in your hands and makes going to the World Cup realistic instead of impossible. You pull up the app, and the layout makes it so simple to scroll through matchups and compare seat views. You pick a game, tap a section, and have your tickets locked in within minutes. No confusion, no hunting for fine print. The seat view feature is a game changer too. You literally see what the pitch looks like from your exact seat before you buy. Prices include fees up front, which I love, no last second surprises at checkout, and alerts for teams and matches make it easy to grab tickets the moment they drop instead of missing out. So take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets in every match, concert, or event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Game Time. Third quarter kicking off here on the Locked On Steelers Squad Show. The third quarter got off to a really rocky start for the Pittsburgh Steelers in a 26-7 home loss to the Buffalo Bills. He's NFL veteran Wayne Gandy. He's the beautiful Ben Bobick. And I'm Tyler Feldman. Happy to be with you here on this Sunday evening, breaking down the Steelers' embarrassing loss. Without a doubt, their ugliest loss of the season. I'm not sure where they go from here, but to try and find answers, solutions, we will dive into Wayne's world. Wayne, what is in your world in regards to this game here tonight?
Tyler, Ben, stick with me now. For 12 weeks and preseason, all we've been going around and around about is, can the Steelers find wide receiver number 2? I'm not sure we have wide receiver number 1. Don't throw darts at me. I'm saying the production we get out of DK settles more on the second receiver, the numbers, the impact. We've all watched different teams, even the Steelers teams, where they might not be good, but Antonio Brown still had 100 catches. Just stick with me. We're it was 4 or 5 between the Buffalo and his own team. There was 4 or 5 guys that had just as many receptions as DK Metcalf. So as the offense is, this big debate about where's receiver number 2? Where's receiver number 1? Where is the big play? Where is the guy that even in a loss is in the locker room bragging like it wasn't my fault? That's what receivers do.
Well, he's with the Cowboys. He's in Dallas. George Pickens took the bus out. He made the right decision.
And that came to me as I watched the game, you see guys like Spencer Anderson We stick DK Metcalf over there on the left side. He doesn't motion. We don't move him to try to figure out ways to get him the ball. We don't try the defense on the back end enough for me. I know it's part Arthur Smith, but it also has to be part, you must not trust this player to be able to deliver for me. And that just really stood out because I played with the Rams when we were called the Lambs, and Isaac Bruce still would be headed to the Pro Bowl, and we only won 5 games. And people still feel like he was the best receiver, on the team or in the division. So that was what was in my world today as far as how the offense moves, that it has no explosiveness, and just how many times we've talked and read online and all the articles about going out and trade for receiver number 2. I think we do have receiver number 2. We just don't have receiver number 1.
Receiver number 2 is likely receiver number 1. DK is a good receiver when he has a complement on the outside. But DK is no Isaac Bruce where he can just do it himself, right? I feel like that's what you were getting at, Wayne. And it certainly is a great point because there's no fear. Who's the weapon? Who is Aaron Rodgers? I mean, Darnell Washington led the team in receiving today. He had 2 catches for 45 yards. He's your guy, and they love, oh, look at him. The lineman has tight end running around. Well, it's the same thing with showing Danny Smith on the TV chewing 18 wads of bubble gum. Like, I'm sick of that stuff too. You didn't see it a lot today because nothing good was happening. He only gets put up there for those good moments, right? The Steelers lack weapons at the running back position. Tight end, they have weapons, but they've got no one. DK's not good enough to be wide receiver 1 with no one else because he can't create like that. It's a great point, Wayne. Ben, what do you think?
Yeah, he nailed it. I mean, I've been thinking that a while. I'm glad he brought this to the table here, man, because I actually made a mention to my friends not too long ago, too. Like they just replaced George Pickens with less dramatic and problematic George Pickens. I mean, look, George Pickens having a great season in Dallas. Why?
Oh, he's having a career year.
Lamb. Because they have CeeDee Lamb, though. They know they has a compliment there. You have a pure number 1 receiver in CeeDee Lamb, and then now you bring in George Pickens. And why do you think he's not being double teamed all the time? He doesn't have to, and he's not getting frustrated because he's open because they're doing that to CeeDee Lamb. It's the same thing with DK Metcalf, man. He's a great number 2. He'd be awesome if we had the true number 1 in here. It's like back when we had AB. How many different number 2 receivers we had when AB was here. But I think about Juju. We had Antonio Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster has a fantastic rookie season. Gets his bike stolen, but they've ended up finding that. But he's having a great rookie season.
You had Le'Veon Bell in the backfield, so you had weapons.
Right, exactly. And then you had, it was a great. And then AB leaves. Obviously, we know how that happened. And then Juju couldn't become the 1 because he's not number 1 receiver. It's the same thing with DK Metcalf. He'd be great if we had it like Wayne was saying, man. He nails it. He's just not a number 1 receiver type of guy. You need that compliment. But here's the thing, like I just keep going back to as well, like even if we had that number 2 receiver, I just don't even know if it works in this offense, man. I mean, how many 12, 13 personnel they use all the time? How many when they have 3 receivers on the field at one time, I stand up because I'm thinking, oh man, how about this? When I see Benny Skowronek out there along with Calvin Austin and DK Metcalf, I'm like, oh man, they're really trying to open this up. They got 3 receivers out there on this play. That's how many times they use that sort of thing. It's just so there's just no room to succeed in it. And George was frustrated, like obviously, and now you see why. I mean, he wasn't wrong, but to that point, like he's a great number 2 receiver. He's succeeding where he is because of CeeDee Lamb, and DK Metcalf is in that same boat of character or that same boat. But it doesn't matter. Like he's not. You think about true number 1 receivers, man. You think Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. I mean, these are guys that are true
spitters,
number 1 receivers. Yeah,
number 1 receivers. Okay.
Yeah, 1 receiver. So like DK Metcalf isn't on their level. He's not.
Seattle may have gotten better by getting rid of
they clearly
DK. Look at the Seahawks. My goodness. Talk about the anti-Steelers. We always go back, and I know Chris has gone back to that win over the Patriots, and the Patriots are having this great year. This Steelers team is boring. You could get rid of 90% of this roster, and I wouldn't care. I really wouldn't. It just, that's what this team is. It's a team of no ones. And even the guys that are someone's aren't doing anything. You're not getting enough out of the stars, Wayne. In the locker room, what do you think the vibe is right now as a former player?
Well, hopefully, a guy like Cam Hayward is calling attention. And it's a couple of weeks ago, I think maybe about game 5, I was talking about whatever's going to come, it has to come from the team, not the coaches. And this is one of those times. After this kind of performance, this is a team thing. This is a players-only meeting. What do we want to do? We got to make a choice. Guys have to step up. Guys got to be able to be vocal. They can't wait around and let the coaches dictate. They got to go knock on the coach's door with a game plan of how they feel like they can succeed. And right now, it's one of those kind of attitudes. We got 5 games left on the schedule. 2 of them are against the team you're probably going to have to win against to win this division. But the attitude right now is just real quiet because everybody got embarrassed. And it's hard to be a rah-rah guy when it was your fault too. It's just one of those things where you just get a hot shower, have a quick handshake and get out of the locker room, because right now everybody should feel embarrassed. And that may be the only good thing about this game. Redemption in a mindset of the week trying to go against Baltimore next week.
Wayne, I'm glad you mentioned showering, because if I'm Mike Tomlin, I shut the water off. That team doesn't even deserve a shower. They didn't even they didn't sweat at all out there on the field. I'm saying there needs to be some standard set or reset within the organization, because it is an absolute joke, Ben. That team doesn't deserve to clean off. They don't need to. And I don't think this is like overreacting at this point. We knew what this team was, but oh my goodness, it brings me back to those really bad Tommy Maddox days. And I hate to bring Tommy as the key focal piece, but it was like pre-Ben Roethlisberger is how I feel right now. Those days where it's like this team ain't anything. That's how I feel. I don't know if that's how you feel, but that's how I feel right now.
I feel stuck. We're stuck in this endless cycle, it seems like, because it all comes down to the quarterback. Aaron Rodgers isn't going to be here in 5 years. Probably not going to be here next year. So it's like I'm already thinking about that. I'm like, there's no future with that, because you need a quarterback. You just do. You need someone that's going to come in and be the future of this team, and Aaron Rodgers isn't it. And I surely don't think that Arthur Smith needs to be the offensive. Someone needs to do us a favor, do the Steelers a favor, and hire him as the head coach. It might be the Tennessee Titans, where he basically fails upward again, and it's like perfect. That takes care of itself there. Then you can get someone else in here, but it's which I'm not so sure. Knowing that the Steelers would do it too, they would probably just promote the quarterback coach and Tom Arth. And as someone who covers Chattanooga athletics on the reg, Tom Arth was the head coach of the Chattanooga Mocs in 2018. You don't want that guy calling your plays at NFL level too. But I digress. It's just like you're just stuck. You feel stuck, and I feel like it hit me in the face today, where I wasn't even excited to watch the game. I'm like, I just got a feeling how this is going to go. And then even in the first half when they were winning, in that, I'm like, hey, you know what? They're winning. I still, I'm like, I just don't. They're not doing anything positive. There's nothing that excites me about it. I don't look forward to it. I was just ready to just take the loss on the chin and start to cope with it and try to get back the even par so I can enjoy what's left, the first half of my week. I'm not letting it ruin my week this week. It's just not happening.
Don't let it ruin your week.
I mean,
hey,
no,
everyone watching, listening, don't let this ruin your week. Don't let it ruin your week.
No, exactly. And so it's just, I don't know. But then you get ready for a game like this with the Ravens. Anything can happen. I mean, they don't look too good right now. I mean, it's not like they're firing on all cylinders in their own right. They look pretty bad on Thursday against Cincinnati. But it's still like it's AFC North football. You never know. But I just don't see big changes happening within a week. That's going to be like, oh, you know what, this team might be able to turn it around. No.
Well, I'm glad you bring up the Ravens as we near the end of this third quarter on the Locked On Steelers Squad Show. When we come back, the fourth quarter, We will discuss that matchup in Baltimore, the Charm City. Will there be charms following the Steelers down the road to Baltimore to pick up a huge divisional win? The Steelers, despite being an absolute joke here on a Sunday in Week 13, still have a shot to win the division. We will discuss that next, right here on the Locked On Steelers Squad Show, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network. Welcome back. Fourth quarter, Locked On Steelers Squad Show. Wayne Gandy, Ben Bobick, I'm Tyler Feldman. The Steelers falling to the Bills in Pittsburgh 26-7, falling to 6-6 overall with the loss. Things seem dire, not very exciting, yet there is still hope for the Steelers team, and that's what brings us back in every week. It's the idea that the Steelers somehow, Mike Tomlin could avoid another losing season. The Steelers will reach the playoffs and likely lose if they do early on. Hey, the Steelers have to play the Ravens 2 more times. Both times that they meet, it'll be in the last 5 weeks of this season. The Steelers, looking at their remaining schedule, at Baltimore, Monday night versus Miami, at Detroit, at Cleveland, and then they wrap up the regular season in Week 18 at home against the Ravens. Hey, the Ravens, meanwhile, it's the Steelers next Sunday. Then they're at Cincinnati. Then they host New England, travel to Green Bay, and then travel to Pittsburgh to end the season. So anything can happen. Wayne, when you think about the matchup next Sunday against Baltimore and you look at the remaining schedule, kind of still bodes fairly well for the Steelers if they can figure things out and actually bring something to the table.
Yeah, when you have that first meeting at the beginning of training camp, the idea of how you get to the glory land, which is the Super Bowl, it all starts with winning the division. And that is still in front of the Steelers. I think the Raven game offers what it always offers, a way of an attitude where you have to go out and play at a physical level that the Steelers just did not show today, which right now you think about Derrick Henry and what we saw today, you get scared a little bit about what they can do. But the Ravens, people tried to put it on a couple of games that Lamar was out. But the Ravens I've seen, they've been playing like this as well. I think a lot of there was hype and that Lamar Jackson was going to play some hero ball to make them even better. But, you know, the embarrassment, how much will that resonate during the week? Those superstars that we have, TJ, Jalen Ramsey, the defensive line got blew up off the ball all day long. Just pick a name, and they're 4 yards off the ball. It's just a game where you hope that Arthur Smith I'm like, Ben, how about just let's go a little no huddle? I mean, it's not on tape, so you don't know. People will actually probably think you're trying to run a trick play when you put 3 receivers out there. So, you know, let's mix it up. I'm just one of those kind of guys. I'd rather go 0-5 in the next 5 games trying to win them than trying to get to a Chris Boswell field goal to win. And I think that's what the offense needs to do. It needs to take more chances. I'm okay with 3 and out trying to be aggressive, but the little bubble screen and the tight end belly back, all that little stuff, okay. Now let's do something different. And I think you're going to have a little more verticality to this offense to have a chance to go to Baltimore and get a win.
The NFL draft is in Pittsburgh this year. And for me, hopefully the Steelers have their eyes set on a quarterback. That would be special. It would bring that aura to the city. Right now, it is totally evaporated. You had Pitt getting manhandled at Acrisure on Saturday, and then you had the Steelers Sunday, just a little double L in the beautiful city of Pittsburgh, it's just not fun, Ben. But do you have confidence going to Baltimore next Sunday? Lamar didn't look great in his return on Thursday. Joe Burrow did. I still see Lamar figuring things out against the Steelers defense. I have zero confidence in the Steelers right now.
Yeah, I mean, you have to trust that these veterans in this defense are going to just go to work this week. They know they just got gashed in the run, and guess what the Ravens are going to want to do with them next Sunday? Run the ball with Derrick Henry, run the ball with Lamar. Although Lamar does look like he's hurting a little bit. I mean, I noticed they mentioned on the broadcast on Thursday him running the ball. It's not like the usual 100% Lamar in a way, but it just boils down to you got to stop Derrick Henry, and if you're able to do so, you're going to give yourself a position to win some downs and maybe create some turnovers and whatnot. But that's what it comes down to is trying to stop that run, which they weren't able to do in last year, particularly in the playoff game when they got gashed in Baltimore. So it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, that's what's so great, wild and great about the NFL is the Steelers appear to be reeling, and they really are. But here they are going into Baltimore with a chance to take control of the division. They still control their own destiny as it pertains to the playoffs in the division and a home game in the playoffs, if you will. If they take care of business here with Baltimore, especially with this first one being on the road, knowing you had the other one in the back pocket at home later the last game of the season. But if you're able to go on the road and steal a victory on Sunday, and then you have the head-to-head over Baltimore in your hand. You're up a game on them in the division. You got the Dolphins coming to town on Monday Night Football. You're right back to, you know what, maybe they could will their way to what they need to do. But that's the beautiful, wild, and crazy thing about the NFL is how bad they look right now. They're still in a position to be, like Wayne has been saying, where we thought they'd be all along, that 10-7, 9-8 team. Like it is what it is. That's still very possible for them. I'm not saying it's going to happen. And today obviously wasn't a good example of that, but it's just that's what you got to hang your head on as you enter the week here. Well, you know what? Bummer. They got the butts kicked. You get to go back to work and got another opportunity on Sunday in a big one in what feels like a divisional playoff game in its own way against Baltimore.
I don't want to say this, or even ask this, but Wayne, is the AFC North the worst division in football?
Yes, this season.
I mean, when was the last time anyone said that, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have the fear. Even when you look at the division with Jacksonville and the Colts, the Texans, they offer more fire.
Texans defense is at least like top in the league. That defense is fun to watch.
Yeah.
The Steelers defense got paid, and that's about it. They got their money before the season, and then that's it. We haven't seen it.
I think we're webbing the story together for this to be that last game of the season. You're starting to get that feel that it's going to come to that, January 4th game in Pittsburgh, winner take all, only the division, because that's really what is shaking up to be. Only one team out of the division, whoever wins it is going to go because of the record. You don't really see either one of these teams winning the next 5. They'd be lucky to win 4 of the next 5. So, most teams are already up in that 8-9 win category. So it's starting to shape up as one of those, whoever wins the division gets a game and everybody else goes home. So the Steelers have a lot. And you asked me earlier about the locker room. How much does this team as a whole take this loss as inspiration to play? And that's, to me, is what's going to determine what happens next Sunday.
I don't know if I should say this, but hey, have you guys checked out Cincinnati's remaining schedule? They're at Buffalo next week. They play Baltimore, at Miami, hosting Arizona, hosting Cleveland. You very well could see a Joe Burrow-led Bengals team winning their last 5 to be 9-8 to end the season. Where that leaves the Steelers and Ravens, I don't know. Either way, we were so irate this episode reacting to this loss to Buffalo. It's this league, man. This league, it's shaping up to still be exciting. So even though, yeah, this Steelers team is not winning the Super Bowl, and if they do, come back to me. It ain't happening, okay? But the division race is going to be really exciting, and that's what I'm looking forward to. I don't know about you guys. To salvage whatever this season is, right?
I mean, it's just, God, you know what? The Cincinnati did look like they were revived a bit Thursday, man. And Joe Burrow didn't look like he missed a beat. He was mobile too with everything. It was something to watch. And
he was thankful.
And that's
he was grateful. He was emotional. You could see that he loves the game. He could have thrown in the towel and said, "I'm not coming back." Everything that you want out of a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, but he doesn't play defense. Now, let's not forget that Bengals defense.
Well, not yet. We haven't seen him out there yet. He's probably good enough to play defense on the Steelers team. That's how bad they've been. They've been. Gentlemen, any final thoughts as we wrap up this Locked On Steelers reaction show here on a Sunday night?
I'll just echo what I've been saying. Ben said a little earlier that this team is going to crash into the record of the talent that they actually have. And that would be 9-8. And if they catch a break, they could be 10-7. And will that get them in a home field playoff game? We will see. That's about all we can ask for. But I like this kind of season, the intrigue. It keeps you on the edge, and it goes that way. We can get this Ravens game. I'm just throwing out a little hope for y'all out there. You get this Raven game, and then you bring Miami to a cold Pittsburgh on a Monday night. You got to feel good about that. So, you can easily.
Wish I did, Wayne. Wish I did. Wish I did.
Hey, man, it's one of those things where they a lot of people preach about. I think it was almost ad nauseum about Arthur Smith and his offense, talking a lot about one thing he is over his career is adaptable. He adapts to different people. I mean, what is he adaptable at? Being mediocre? I mean, there's got to be some sort of like Wayne was saying, like jolt of energy into this, whether it's just switch it up, man, like break the norm. Let's go a little no huddle. Let Aaron Rodgers just cook out there for a little bit and move with the football. Just because I feel like that gets the offense in rhythm. Tonight they had zero rhythm whatsoever. It was just, they looked like they were stuck in mud. They weren't getting, they were running the ball on 3rd and 9 and 4th and 2, like we were saying. They're backing up in 3rd and long situations. No one's open. There needs to be some sort of mojo, if you will, just getting this thing moving, basically just making yourself a little uncomfortable out there, and like Wayne alluded to as well, saying like, hey, listen, I'm fine with them going 3 and out if at least they're aggressive with it. I think they need to find somewhere in this dark chest of their offensive playbook the intermediate passing game, man. We don't need to go deep down the field all the time, or just be underneath. Like, where are those 7 to 15 yard passes, man? That's where they need to find it. Wherever that is, they need to connect on those plays, because that's how you get this offense in rhythm, and that's how you can start running the ball effectively, because the guys are moving, you're getting downhill. They need to find that to be successful the rest of the season, and I do think that it's somewhere in there. And I think a game like this could be the final. Hopefully, you would hope the final slap in the face of like, okay, we got to do something about this, because what we're trying to do now just ain't it.
A dark chest. Ben, you're assuming that Arthur Smith owns a chest. He's using a kid's sticker book that's maybe 8 pages long, Ben. And you know what happens to those stickers over time? They kind of frill at the edges because they become unsticky, okay? And it doesn't last. It doesn't even last a season. A chest, they're not even close to a chest. They don't have the manpower to carry a chest that has a dark hole with all these plays.
He's got a manila play sheet. This is his playbook right here.
No, because if he had that, then you'd be selling yourself short, Ben. You got good notes on there. I'm sure he could use some of those.
Yeah, he actually probably could. There's a couple good stuff in here. It's legible.
It's a sticker book on both sides of the ball. And Danny Smith chewing bubble gum for special teams. That's their best player, their coach, his jaw, and the way that it chomps. No chomp from the Steelers. Sunday in Pittsburgh, Week 13, 26-7 loss at the hands of the Buffalo Bills. Steelers, again, fall to 6-6. Next week, they will be in Baltimore taking on the Ravens. They are tied atop the AFC North at 6-6. This is not your father's AFC North, okay? This is the current state of the National Football League. This league. A reminder, you can listen to the audio of tonight's show on the Locked On Steelers podcast channel. Wherever and however you podcast in Steelers Nation, please like, subscribe. We'd appreciate it. That'll do it, though, for this Sunday Night Buffalo Bills live recap edition of the Locked On Steelers Squad Show. For Wayne Gandy and Ben Bobick, I'm Tyler Feldman saying good night, and here we go. We'll see you next time, Wednesday night, to preview that Ravens-Steelers game.